Innovation in battery technology. This is one of the biggest themes probably of maybe this generation of investors. And I want to talk about this because this sometimes it gets overlooked how important this is. There has been some news around the sort of dissection of the new 4680 batteries that came out of the Tesla Austin factory. And it's just another reminder of what we're actually investing in here when we buy Tesla shares. We're not buying some fancy car company. We're buying a material science company that is trying to change the decarbonization situation or solve the decarbonization problem by inventing batteries that can be used for transportation and storage. This is the key. And I want to talk about this and also about the idea that there is a whole supply chain of battery technology that's coming and that there's a lot of VCs investing and all that kind of stuff. And just elaborate how we think about this. This is the Not Even Wrong podcast. It's July 17th, 2022. This is Krim Delko. It's a Sunday. There's no update for the year. We're down 41.3%. The market's down 17.7%. We're underperforming by 23.6%. The Tesla 4680 battery is a new innovation. It's new in the sense that they changed the chemistry, the production, the architecture, everything has changed with the goal of lowering the cost of production and lowering the capital intensity of the actual product. And the reason Tesla wants to do this is because Tesla wants to be able to scale this technology to a level where they can make about 20 million cars per year. In order to achieve that, of course, they have to do two things. One is they have to be able to actually do it, build that many cars. And second, they have to do that at a cost so that the demand for sure will be there. And therefore, they have to, again, lower the cost, lower the capital intensity, all of those kinds of things. And Battery Day was, in my view, the most important day in the history of Tesla, at least in the most recent history of Tesla, because it kind of outlined two things. Number one, the path towards that kind of success. And second, also, it kind of showed the world that it is virtually impossible to compete with Tesla. And that's very important because, and this is just on a side note here, we believe that actually the road towards decarbonization, at least for now, still cannot go through competition because Tesla needs to win and destroy everybody else who is still trying to stop decarbonization. And then kind of once the once the field is completely leveled, then I think we will have space for new entrants and new startups and technologies and all that. But right now, there's still way too much opposition coming from people like Volkswagen and Ford and all these types of people who will fight tooth and nail to prevent this from happening. So having said that, now let's get back to the 4680. There's been a sort of tear down of the 4680 by the Monroe people and also by other people. And I don't want to go into details. I mean, you can check those videos on YouTube. I want to discuss actually something that is much more dear to our heart here at Orange Capital Partners. The purpose of Orange Capital Partners is to generate wealth by investing in fundamentally new concepts and engineering practices. And we've spoken about this many times. We have a principle stack that helps us guide through all the noise and all the difficulties of achieving that kind of goal. And the principle stack is basically based on 4 books. And without going into details now, I just want to mention the Innovation Stack by Jim McKelvey, which is one of the 4 books. The Innovation Stack idea is not revolutionary in a sense that it is very Popperian, in a sense that you have this try and error correction and a build up towards better things, new things, better situations, and you achieve that by continuously trying things and then improving and so on and so forth. And the Innovation Stack concept also has another big advantage, which is it builds on top of solving problems. And the key here is that it helps companies also avoid competition, and it does that not by doing something like a antitrust illegal stuff. It just does that by if you start solving a problem and you then create new problems, and you solve that problem and create new problems and so on and so forth, you will have an insight into your particular technology or your particular problem set that nobody else has. And it's kind of like life. I mean, if you are a unique person, just in a sense that because you are your own innovation stack. Everybody's their own innovation stack, and the more unique you are, and the more unusual your approach is to things, the more unusual we will get. And this is a little bit like launching a rocket. If you make a little left turn today, 20 years from now, that left turn could have a big impact. And I think that's what the concept of innovation stack means. And this is also the way we see, for example, the big advances of Tesla. Them having made that one move, that one simple decision to go 4680 and create an innovation stack around that. They've been doing this for 2 years now. They've been, hacking their way through all the problems, and the teardown of Monroe and all these other people shows how detailed and how difficult it is. There's a little bit less silicon here. They use this kind of material. The thickness of the cells is such and such. So much engineering went into this. And this is, by the way, just the first iteration. We're going to have second, third, fourth iterations, and so on and so forth. So for competitors to compete at this level, it's just impossible. And then we have the whole concept of vertical integration. And we've spoken about this also in the context of Onur Mutlu's course about computer architecture. Like, imagine now when you have this fully vertical integrated battery, and then you can maybe build software that helps you charge faster and that helps be more efficient. And just by having a fully integrated stack, you are in a position here to really solve problems in a different way. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a better way. The key is it's going to be different. And because it's going to be different, you're going to be differentiated. And that's the key to success. Now, our view here on Orange Capital Partners is that there's still a long way to go for the supply chain to get commoditized so people can actually start using components and put batteries together. And this is why we believe that companies like NIO, Ford, GM, Volkswagen cannot succeed at this point right now, simply because there is not enough supply chain development, not enough differentiation within the supply chain, and not enough efficiency within the supply chain, and not enough cost reduction within the supply chain to enable people to actually build competitive products. So Tesla will have a lead for many years to come. At some point, that lead will go away, and this is also what Musk said many times, that the actual future of Tesla is in AI, because that's an innovation stack that is a lot harder to crack, and therefore he believes that will be the big differentiation. But for now, it's going to be still based on manufacturing technology, battery technology, and all that kind of stuff. And this brings me to the conversation also that there's a lot of VCs. Let's say Volta is one VC that is built by scientists that are investing in battery technologies, and they have good endeavors. They're investing in solid state technologies, they're investing in hydro technologies. All of these things are valid. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is, unless you have a vertically integrated company like Tesla, it's going to be very difficult to bring all these things to fruition. And because we have something like Tesla, it's going to be even more difficult for competitors to just buy components and deliver solutions. This is the way we see it right now. You can have a little tangent here also, let's say, in the sort of Starlink SpaceX situation, where I recently read an interview with a gentleman about the laser technology that is used to connect the Starlink satellites. Now, this gentleman has left SpaceX. He was heading that whole project, and he now is CEO of the company which does the lasers. The idea here is that you use laser technology to connect satellites in space, and that particular technology needs a lot of innovation. So what this gentleman did is he said, look, I'm at SpaceX, and the key component to success for Starlink is, amongst other things, this particular laser technology. So why don't I go there and build that and create an innovation stack around that? So this is a very nice example of something where, yeah, you could actually, let's say, leave Tesla, and that's what JB Straubel did, and said, look, I'm going to build an innovation stack around, for example, recycling, because that's not being taken care of Tesla. So there are things that Tesla can't take care of right now, and there's definitely room for building an innovation stack. And if we have enough spin-offs and so on and so forth, then actually we could have a supply chain that eventually supports an industry a little bit similar to Silicon Valley. In fact, if you look at the history of Silicon Valley, it wasn't very different. You had the the Renegade 8 that left Fairchild Semi and then started Intel. And then a lot of people from Intel, that early Intel, they left Intel, they became angel investors, VCs, and all that of that kind of stuff, and created the supply chain that we call Silicon Valley today. But it took decades to build that, and I think it's going to take maybe not decades, but at least another decade for the battery supply chain to be at the level that is needed for competitors to just step in and buy components and put things together. Having said that, of course, the logical conclusion is that we believe that the competitive advantage of Tesla is still way ahead, and I think this teardown of the 4680 shows that. And we therefore believe that Tesla is still a very good investment. I mean, this is the logical conclusion, because we believe that the market is large, the decarbonization necessity of the world, particularly now with the problem of Russia and the need to de-Russianize the world economy, is also very big. So we have a lot of factors going towards a solution that Tesla can provide, and therefore also wealth generation opportunity for Tesla. Having said that, now I also want to discuss a little bit the 4680 in specifics, because there is also the potential, let's say, I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here. Well, what if Tesla's wrong? What if they're actually doing the wrong thing? Maybe they should be investing in solid-state technologies like Quantumscape, for example. Now, I believe Quantumscape is a pipe dream for several reasons. I've seen their presentations. They're not trustworthy. One of the biggest investors is Volkswagen, not trustworthy. And most importantly, also, they chose to go public with a SPAC, which is almost certainly now a signal for not trustworthy. So having said all of that, I think my conclusion on Quantumscape is that it's not going to work. It's a pipe dream, and at best, it's going to be a technology that maybe can be sold as an acqui-hire to somebody else that then maybe can use it to actually make something out of it, a little bit like the dry coating technology that Tesla bought from I forgot the company's name. So there are there's always value in these things, but certainly we're not talking here about billions. At best, maybe hundreds of millions, maybe a billion or so. This company is not worth a lot more than that, and simply because it's not trustworthy. I mean, I don't have a lot more technological insight than that. I have done work at the level of an investor, so I haven't done scientific work. I haven't spoken to scientists about this, but my conclusion is just based on their presentation, let's say their investor deck, is just not trustworthy. And my point here is I don't want to talk about Quantumscape. I want to talk about Tesla in the sense that I want to ask myself, is Tesla wrong? Is Tesla doing something that maybe they shouldn't be doing? And my conclusion is that the answer to that is probably not. Probably Tesla has thought very hard about what to do and how to do whatever they're doing at best to achieve their goal of building 20 million cars at a cost advantage that also supports the demand and supports the affordability and all of these kinds of things, and creates the kind of wealth that needs to be created to decarbonize the energy infrastructure of the world. So this is, in a nutshell, our conclusion when it comes to the big question also, well, are we wrong? Well, of course we can be wrong, but again, the signals are incredibly strong that we're probably on the right track. And just to paraphrase Brad Hall and his recent reaction podcast to an End of the World podcast by Sam Harris, he says one thing that David Deutsch always says is that the future is not predictable just simply because we can't predict the knowledge creation that will come, because creativity and knowledge creation, we don't understand how it works, and therefore we can't predict it. And the same applies to the decarbonization efforts of Tesla and the whole car market and all of these things. Of course, we can't predict what kind of knowledge we'll create in the next couple of years. But what we can do, and I think this is why we have our principal stack, is we can kind of we can predict the trajectory of certain innovation stacks. And this is really what we do at Orange Capital Partners. We predict trajectories of innovation stacks. So we find innovation stacks, for example, battery technology, AI, and then we predict the trajectory. And for example, when it comes to AI, actually, we believe the trajectory of Tesla is not the right one. We believe that the path towards a successful AI solution is going to be self-supervised reinforcement learning, and therefore the innovation stack has to be geared towards building an animated situation or animation technology that allows for self-supervised reinforcement learning. So this is, in a nutshell, what we wanted to say about the question of where does Tesla stand in terms of battery technology, where's the innovation stack, how competitive is Tesla? And the answer is, as a summary, Tesla is incredibly competitive because we have the innovation stack that we believe is the right one. So at Orange Capital Partners, we are, again, the purpose is to generate wealth by investing in fundamental new concepts and, and engineering practices. But in practice, what it really means is we're picking innovation stacks. We're not stock pickers, we're innovation stack pickers. So in that sense, we're kind of like VCs, if you want, but we're not building companies, therefore we're not VCs. We're building innovation stacks. So once people have started tinkering in the garage and starting to create sort of the first couple of iterations, if you want, the bacteria which has split a few times and now is creating an organism, and then we're trying to bet on, okay, this organism is going to turn into a big biotope and the market and generate wealth. This is what we do. We pick innovation stacks. And how do you pick innovation stacks? We have a principal stack for that. That's a whole different podcast. It's beyond the scope of this episode. But just to summarize, we pick innovation stacks and believe that the 4680 and the battery technology in general that Tesla is choosing to tinker around and building innovation stacks around is the right one for decarbonizing the transportation sector globally. Thank you.